Hi, welcome back. Last time we talked about how you open your calls, that setting of the tone and direction for the discussion. You should have your short pitch prepared now and be getting good with that for use with prospects. And with customers, it's about making sure that the process is a continuous one. So on to stage 3 of our possible. Good communication skills, good sales skills makes anything possible. And this time we're looking at what? Standing in their shoes, that first S. Now, if we go back to that basic structure that I used in the earlier video, this is the A, this is asking the questions. But this is so much more than asking questions. This is about truly standing where they stand and looking out and see the world as they see it. Properly, really understanding that customer in terms of what their issues are, what their problems are, what they find helps them, what actually gets in their way. Now, in order to be able to do that, obviously you've got to ask them questions, but you've got to do it in the right way. Now, when I talk to salespeople and I start talking about questioning, I immediately see their eyes start to glaze over, start to hear them yawn, and they start saying, oh yeah, we know about open questions, Steve. We know about closed questions. And that's absolutely true. Most salespeople do know about that, and lots of other skills beyond. But when I then say to salespeople, and I've trained thousands over the years, I look them in the eye and say, okay, if you're so good at open questions, tell me the top 5 open questions that you use with new prospects to understand what their key issues are. Most of the time, they'll fanny around and faff around at that point, and they can't come out with 5 questions. I expect people to come out with 10 or 15. It's one of the core skills as a salesperson. What you've got to be careful of, however, is not turning it into a Spanish Inquisition. The very first time I got exposed to open questions, when I first started out in field sales as a 20-year-old, then I thought these were the answer to my dreams, because I've been doing the job for about 6 months or so and finding it quite difficult. But I went out and started saying all these stupid open questions. What do you look for in a material supplier? What are your key issues in the business at the moment? I get about 3 of those out and find that the atmosphere in the room goes a bit frosty and the call starts to die down. It was because basically I was punching the information out of them. That's not how you talk when you're with friends, when you're in a social situation. We don't sit there and say, so what did you think about the football last night? How did you feel the tactics might have influenced the outcome? What do you believe is the long-term prospects for rugby in this country? That's not how we talk, we chat. Before we ask a question, we give it some preamble so that the person that we're about to ask that question can see that it's coming. It's like waving a little flag. So when you ask questions, if you want to ask good quality questions, then you want to ask good quality questions that make the customer think. You've got to indicate to them the path that you're about to take. Now, let me give you an example of that. If you want to ask somebody about the specific problems in their business, you might lead up to it in this sort of way. Look, we've got some experience in your area, and a lot of customers talk to us about the issues of lost time in production, whether that be through machinery breakdown, whether that be through absenteeism, whether that be through general productivity within the team. Quite often we find it's one element of the process. Now, obviously, as a supplier to production directors, we have a number of different solutions that we can look at. So what are the key things that cause you issues in your business, in your production line? Now, with that, what you're doing is flagging up to that person. That's the direction of the question. You give them plenty of time and even suggest some opportunities there to get them thinking about the different elements that cause them issues. That's a sensible way to ask a question. It's a nice way to ask a question. It also makes them think. If you suddenly come out with open questions, that doesn't give them the chance to think about it. They then just pull out the first thing that's in their head. The other thing about questioning technique, every industry sector has got what I call the factual stuff. So when I worked in metal stock holding, it was what materials do you buy, generally speaking, what quantities, how often do you buy them, what do you need in terms of delivery. It's 4 or 5 different things. Every rep that went in there that worked for a metal stock holder got that information. You can't build value with that. You build value by finding out what the real issues are for that customer. So here's what I want you to do. In order to find out those real issues, there are going to be some key areas that you need to talk to them about. There might be 4, 5, 6, 10, 20. I don't know what it is in your sector, but there won't be a massive amount. 20 really should be too many unless it's a really complex sale. In most circumstances, it's going to be half a dozen or so. Work out what those areas are. Not the factual stuff, the issue stuff, the problem stuff. Then write down 4 or 5 different questions you can use to guide them towards that area. and then think about how you could lead into those questions. Now that's quite a big task. You're not going to get all that done in 1 week because you need to go out, see what works, what doesn't work. But you can start it now, and by this time next week, you'll have a decent set of areas to talk to people about and a decent set of questions. As a sales manager, that's what you want to be asking your team to do. Now, good luck with that task. I'll see you next week.